Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand. Welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Monday, February 12, 2024, a little after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. We're having a Time for Change call this Wednesday night around 9 p.m. Eastern. You want to check your spam folders for any information coming from lifelight369@protonmail.com or your all email folder. It does have a tendency to be misplaced. I would check it every day. I check mine every day. And I find little gems in there that I never would have known. We're going to be talking about, the new financial structure on the planet. And we're going to talk about the hydration of the American people and the planetary-wide population. Realizing, and you hear this a lot, you probably ask yourself the same question. Self-realization. Realization of self. Understanding that you're not the body, you're not the ego mind, you are not the character, the personality, you are not what you own, have, possess. You're the God within that body or the pure consciousness. Now, people are not going to be forced into doing this. They choose on their own. They're not going to be forced into doing this. Nobody can force them to do this. They will choose when the time for them is right. And there are people that the time for them is not right. That's why I always say it's all about you. It's an endless journey for every one of us, where we not only realize that we are beyond this physical form all day long, not once in a while, yet we have a direct experience of it with everything and everyone. We feel and sense a reverence for the spiritual being we truly are. That is not separate from this world around us. But many believe it is. It is the most profound awakening process one can have, which expands within us every moment of the day, becoming an integrated aspect of everyday life. There really is no deeper transformation in consciousness that any human can have than becoming self-realized. The change in perspective is so completely radical and utterly life-morphing that nothing else can compare. Take the most profound experience of your life to date, right? Then stretch it so it continuously grows and expands 24 hours a day. This is a taste of what self-realization is like. Take the most profound experience of your life to date and then stretch it so it continuously grows and expands 24 hours a day. Our entire experience of this reality is so different. It's as if we had been an Eskimo living for 70 years in the Arctic Circle, and then one day we decided to pack our bags and permanently move to Hawaii. Why is it so important to understand how ridiculously different the experience of self-realization is? It is because it helps the mind drop any possible attempts to formulate a hardened concept about it. What it actually is cannot be grasped by the mind. And the more the mind tries to think that it knows what self-realization is, the further we drift away from the experience of it. There is no mental concept in this universe that can prepare us for self-realization, other than a perpetual willingness to surrender into the mystery and curiosity of it. It's like once you discover in your own way that you're part of everything, everything's part of you, and there's no separation, so you're all one. So then you realize that you can go anywhere, be anything, do anything throughout the universes instantaneously. You could go from this system to the Alpha Centauri system in a matter of minutes, if not seconds, okay? You use the cosmic energy of creation, which is the pure consciousness of the collective consciousness, in a spiraling vortex that encompasses all the universes and all the parallel dimensions and everything, and all the astral planes and all the super astral planes and the super hyper astral planes beyond all of that. So you're connected. All of us are. And we could blink in and blink out anywhere we want to go. Now, it doesn't mean you're carrying a body. You're carrying the God that you are. You are pure consciousness. So you travel through all of this at will, whenever you choose. You can experience a vast array of it, different exposures everywhere. You could be in two places at one time. This is now. See, this isn't something that's later. It's now. Now, of course, since so many of us are controlled by the ego mind, we don't know that. And because of our programming and conditioning, we don't know that. And we're stuck with the fact that the mind can't comprehend it. So how do you comprehend it? You go to the heart mind. You focus on your breath and the now. But this is where we really are. It's not individuals and separation and, maybe you've heard, well, we'll lose our individuality if we just are all one. Sure, that's because the lower dark matter survival matter frequencies don't care to have us, don't want us to discover this. And no other species does. It is up to us. We would all like a formula for a way to live life that is more enlightened and liberating, wouldn't we? Problem is that every formula that works once is not going to work forever. All formulas last for a limited period of time and then we outgrow them. This is because the nature of our consciousness is meant to expand, become more flexible and diversified. It is only through absolute surrender to this infinite universe can self-realization be invoked and gifted to us. This level of surrender means that we're inviting in the feeling that anything is possible, which means we must choose to let go of just about everything we've known to be true. It's not easy to let go of our beliefs, is it? Yet it is the only way we will ever find the experience of being truly free. To begin this seemingly impossible spiritual quest for freedom, it all begins with inquiring into the source and center of who and what we actually are. When we do relax, meditate, and dive into the center of you, there you will first find the mind and its stories about you. The infinite experience of you is behind these thoughts. It comes from diving into the center of your presence, your essence. And there you can go into it for infinity. There is always another experience within the center of each experience. Eventually, this is how we become centered within our spiritual essence. In this life, it is always the most random, expansive feelings which redirect our attention away from who we think we are and towards rediscovering our unlimited creative source of consciousness. Unlimited creative source of consciousness. If and when we notice, whenever we talk about ourselves, we usually refer to the words me, my, or I. When we feel into the experience of me, my, or I, what do you notice and perceive is there? Look for a long period of time. You must be infinitely patient with this inquiry because it is the first step towards uncovering the real you. It is vastly deep and transforming. The longer that we can maintain a focus of inquiring of who or what I am, the faster you will realize the shocking truth of who and what you actually are. Imagine, imagine that who you are is contained within the small, okay, we have a big circle. We've done this before. Big circle. You're the small dot in the center. Right? The dot is the self you believe you are. This means everything which you have identified with that can be written down on paper. Your name, friends, job, your gifts, physical appearance, your attitude, personality, and the way others see you is all part of your identity. Or is it? The dot represents your mind with all the information stored inside it, as well as your emotions, memories, beliefs, and every piece of good and bad information inside your physical body. Everything you know to be true, about your reality is contained within a tiny dot. The circle around the dot represents everything in our future we have yet to see, experience, know, and learn. It contains our intuitive higher self that says who and what we are, includes the ego, mind, body, yet also welcomes everything beyond it as well, meaning we could find ourselves knowing who we are is not just our body, yet anything around us. We could feel ourselves to be a tree, an animal, a plant, person, the sun, the moon, the stars, the planets. We could extend our idea of ourself into anything and everything in this entire universe and beyond. The circle represents every piece of information we don't know is on Google, as well as in all the buried ancient history books or past books and Akashic records throughout time. All the information of all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever, beyond, and forever. Now, if we look closely at the circle, we will see there is an outer circumference where the black edge meets the pure white background. This white background can expand into infinity. This edge represents the edge of the unknown and is where the experience of self-realization is found. We must choose to not only let go of identifying ourselves as a body-mind, yet also be continuously expanding our sphere of what we know is the unknown and surrender to the unknowable. We can call this infinite white expansive space, God, love, consciousness, source, or any word that works for you. However, the truth is that there is no word large enough to describe this boundaryless container which allows for everything in this universe to play upon it. This is the great mystery of life, which every mad scientist fights with to understand. Yet, the mind will always be too small of a container to get it. To fully experience and realize who and what we actually are, we must choose to release anything that can be known with the mind and surrender into the infinite mystery behind it all. It is in this direct relaxation into our foundation that we find our spiritual connection, our boundless infinite potentiality. We instantly realize that we are a spirit being who is beyond this body, beyond time, beyond all places, shapes, and forms. When you judge another, you do not define them, you define yourself. Wayne Dyer. By living everyday life on this outer edge of infinite possibilities, we become rooted in the deepest truth of who we truly are. We experience enlightened relationships with everyone in our lives because we see they are also a part of the mystery, living in this great unknown. We then become this ever-growing expansion of godly experience that is always increasing in love, joy, curiosity. When we find this infinity within us, where all thoughts and forms abide in, we can rest in a state of pure consciousness. Rest in the state of pure consciousness. It is from this resting within the core of our real selves where we can effortlessly allow everything to be in perfect order, seeing the divine is orchestrating this universe to blossom exactly the way it needs to. The experience of self-realization can come and go in an instant, blink of the eye. We don't need to meditate for 40 years to get it. It all begins with the choice in each moment to let this go of any identification we have with this body-mind and exchange it for a more expansive experience of this life. So it's partly pure intention and part total surrender. We must choose to go from thinking we are a limited human being with many problems of this world to knowing we are on a great spiritual journey through an unlimited life, an eternal life. This leap requires absolute risk and trust, as the nature of the mind-ego identity is to try to cling to the old. It wants to find security in that which does not change. Yet everything of this world changes, and we all know that everything that changes is not real. The only thing that does not change is the infinite background. You, the God that you are, pure consciousness that you are. The only way to real freedom in this life, real freedom, is through changing our perspective. When we can shift from thinking, I live in the body, to the body lives in me. Our reference point to me, myself, and I is expanded. We are no longer imprisoned to just the body and mind. We realize we are the unknowable. The identification with who we are is then found in everything. We experience life beyond the known, and the unknown circles of information we think are there. Self-realization is humongous. However, it is not too huge to experience it in our daily lives. For it to root and be real, we must choose to be willing to practice integrating this expansive perspective on a physical level. We must choose to find complete relaxation with all the feelings, memories, ideas of who we were, who we are now, and everything that we will become. It is through the deepest acceptance of our small self that we can expand into our unlimited self. We are forever going to be this tiny dot that is also expanding into the infinite universe that exists around us. This is life. We have no other choice yet to accept it. Relax into the deep, eternal loving and accepting divine blackboard that is behind it all. You're behind it all. All of us are. Isn't it ironic that many of us don't interact with that or absorb that or embrace it? And there's so many of us that believe that we're falling off the path or fell off the path or we're not on the right path or this is the wrong path and I don't know what the real path is and what direction the path I'm supposed to be going in, and so on and so forth. The only reason that any of us will think that we're off the path, and none of us are, by the way, none of us ever are off the path, ever. Only the ego mind can convince you of that. And even then, it is not true. You see, when the frail egoic human persona takes over, we tend to get wrapped up in identifying ourselves as small, limited, powerless, time-bound beings who are temporarily imprisoned in the physical human form. The human experience can hypnotize us into believing that we are lost, poor, insecure, unhappy, or simply off track. Good news is that the truth is always much bigger than the mind can fathom. Whenever we perceive this life to be some random, challenging, confusing experience, take an afternoon to digest these 3 secrets. Right? They'll open up the inner avenues of connection so you reestablish a heartfelt relationship with your spiritual essence and soon discover the all-powerful, magical, manifesting being we all truly are again. Now, the first step to opening the doorway to meeting your sacred soul starts with feeling into your basic core nature. Who are you at the very innermost core level? You are a super powerful divine being. Exploring this exposes you to become the highest authority of your reality and your life, where you decide what is real and what is not. You are the one who is constantly seeing, believing, and perceiving that the reality you think is true. The mind is always right about what it believes is real. It's never wrong about what direction it's thinking and believing. Even if you fall off the deep end and believe 1 + 2 = 4, the mind will be very righteous about that. And there are people like this. The mind is all coiled up in an old habit of making up fantastic stories about who and what you are and are not. When this mind drops, you drop into your core basic nature, mindless, still, and free from all thought. The mind will still try to say that you are not of this and too much of that. Do not listen to the mind. Listen to your heart instead. There is an unlimited field of loving, sweet energy in your heart, which is the doorway to having full body, deeply healing, spiritual awakening experience. The second step to revealing your soul is found within this space-time continuum. Where would the soul reside if it was simply resting and relaxing at the center of you? Where specifically and exactly is the core of you? When you look within yourself, where in space and time is the very center of this thing called you? When you find it, rest for many hours in that space. You'll discover that you are pure, powerful, perfect, sweet, complete consciousness. You are the source of divine perfection. The source. The more we can relax into our center, the easier it becomes to realize there never was anything wrong with you. That was all just a big fancy show of the mind fabricating new stories again. See, our soul is beyond the mind. It is the ever-present eternal witness at the core essence of us. It is always there, always available and ready to be explored. This is the inner journey everyone is seeking on this planet. It's the one that can take lifetimes to discover. And until we find it, we cannot know deep, everlasting peace. But it's predestined that we will find our souls. This spiritual stream of sacredness follows us wherever we go. It is us, the true us. When we can really relax deep down into the core of our being, the eyes of the soul begin seeing through us. We can perceive the universal spiritual path within the mundane and understand how it's truly impossible to screw up this life. When we relax, we begin to truly trust life. We can feel like we have an infinite amount of time, energy, and resources, creativity, and knowledge to get it right. Only in a very deep relaxation can we surrender enough to bathe in our soul's true eternal essence. The ego and mind are set on the back burner. There's no second guessing about if we have arrived in the parking lot of our soul or not. It's so obvious, it's like the difference between knowing the sun is shining or not. There is only this pure feeling of knowing and getting that we are all unlimited, unbound, perfect beings, connected to each moment to an infinite stream of conscious, intelligent energy. The soul makes us wake up, realize that we can do the impossible. Its energy is so powerful, eternal, and cannot be changed. The more we relax into this understanding, the more we stop fighting with our mind in its list of unfulfilled desires. We simply give up following our thoughts blindly around and begin relaxing beneath them into the quiet solitude underneath the mind, which makes everything in life more interesting and less challenging than it needs to be. The third step is to unveiling your spiritual amazingness is in the practice of a thing called trust. This universe is always protecting us, helping us, serving our highest good. It has never abandoned us and is always here assisting us to blaze through our challenges and find our greatest possible joy in this life. When we trust in this process, everything changes in our perception and reality. This universe is conspiring in your favor. It wants what you want. Be a pronoiac, not a paranoiac. Just notice what it feels like to sit back and relax into the feeling of trusting, what it feels like to sit back and relax into the feeling of trusting in this universe and knowing it is guiding you. When we practice this trust vibe, we can listen easily to the subtle hints from this universe. We know our life purpose and spiritual direction, and we stop ignoring it. The trusting signs are there. Just look for them. Take heed. Stop getting in the way of your highest possibility. It is in trusting this universe that we can give ourselves permission to manifest the most amazing, miraculous life we could ever imagine. We actually get what we truly want through trusting. We stop settling for a fear-based, rushed lifestyle that we don't really desire. I invite you right now to take time to settle yourself into the energy of trust. Breathe it into your body. Feel it inside your heart. Practice this one all day long, all night long. Notice how good that this feels. See if you can notice how many ways this universe is guiding, assisting, and protecting you in the next 48 hours. It is an amazing feeling when you can remain in the state of trust all week long, as it is this energy which opens the door to let your soul's full presence to come flying through. The fourth step is discovering your soul comes from recognizing and letting go of your fears. Take the time when you're in the grocery line, find out what you're truly afraid of in this life. Look deep inside and face whatever old dark demons you are inside you. They are just you hiding from your own soul. Demons are inside you. They are just you hiding from your own soul. Your fears are not meant to haunt you and stay with you forever. That is not their purpose. If you are not facing your fears every day, then they are not fully serving you. You're meant to work with fear, push up against it, so that you expand your sense of means, of self, and grow beyond it. Release your attachments to what the fear means. Realize each one is merely a ridiculous, misguided thought. Give yourself fully over to being a fearless human being by facing every fear that arises. You get to know your true warrior self as an all-loving, all-powerful, fearless, multi-dimensional spiritual being with unlimited potentiality. Who knew the darkness would lead us to the light? And with just a little exploration, and our daily journey home becomes a very sacred, healing process. L. Ron Hubbard, some of you have heard of him. He's no longer in the body. Only you can say where the road goes. Everyone sets his goals for the hour, for the relationship, for every phase of life. The fifth step to uncovering your sparkling, bright soul comes from training your brain to be alert and remain focused only on that which you truly desire. What do you want in life? What you want wants you to have it. And when you can keep your mind focusing on what you want and off of what you don't want, the most amazing things will manifest in your presence. Nobody wants to hear, nobody cares to hear what's on your long list of complaints. Put your kingdom of don't wants up for sale. Recalibrate your mind to meditate on what you do desire. What are those things that make your heart sing? The simple refocusing of the mind on what you want in this life is incredibly powerful and transformative. Once the mind comes around to the conclusion that as long as it's focusing on what it doesn't want, it's never going to be happy. Then it starts to rely more on pure awareness to liberate it. The mind is already deeply trained and programmed to rewind and replay the same 60,000 thoughts it had yesterday. It doesn't like to deviate from the norm. Yet when you redirect it to remain focused on what you want to think about all day long, your soul peeks through and opens everything up. Like a flower meeting the first morning rays of sunshine. You come to feel the amazing warmth that is inside your being. This is the day we truly know our soul intimately. And it will show everyone in the most natural, unassuming ways the all-powerful, deeply eternal, loving being you already are. Don't waste your life for that which is going to be taken away. Trust life. Trust God. If you trust, only then can you drop your knowledge. Only then can you put your mind aside. And with trust, something immense opens up. Then this life is no longer an ordinary life. It becomes full of God, overflowing. I join you in the meditation, and I return to close us out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose, and an easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still. Did you know that this universe is deeply in love with you? You know, it's hard to believe, yet it's absolutely true. This universe is currently having a love affair with you. You might not know it because your mind often tells you the exact opposite. Don't believe the mind. This boundless, divine, loving presence is within you all day and all life long. And yes, even the parts you've labeled bad and unworthy of love are also lovable. This great spiritual source sees how every part of you is needed to complete the masterpiece that you are. You have no idea how perfect you are. Let in this radical love today and observe how beautiful, special, and sacred you truly are. Take this with you for the rest of your day, evening, night, and following morning. And we will return here Tuesday, February 13, 2024, 3:15 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation call. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, purest of the purest purest, eternal gratitude at all times, no matter what's happening within you or around you.